What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We have our mental health series we're continuing. Last time we talked to Elia, who talked about his divorce and cancer and COVID and all that kind of stuff. This time around, we are speaking to Adam Gordon, who has experienced some death in his life at an early age and talks about some other struggles he's had as well. So we're going to talk to Adam about this. He's an open book. But we got to give Cintas some love here. They are the sponsor of this series, and it was their kind of idea initiative that they kind of brought towards me. And I thought, let's jump in and do this because it's pretty cool. But if you guys want to check out Cintas and what they provide is quality workwear for the trades, like Carhartt, they do laundry services and stuff like that as well. So if you're interested, check them out at cintas.com/HVAC know-it-all. And Cintas is spelled Cintas, cintas.com/HVAC know-it-all. This podcast is sponsored by Cool Air Products, Cintas, and supplyhouse.com. Go to the show notes and click on the links to check these guys out. Purchasing air filters directly from the manufacturer definitely has its perks. Factory Direct Air Filters doesn't just sell filters, but they manufacture the Aerostar air filter brand. So basically, you're cutting out the middleman. If you manage multiple properties or commercial service contracts, they do have bulk discounts, but they also offer wholesale pricing as well. They've got consistent inventory and standard sizes ship within 2 days. They also do unique sizes to spec, and that's within about 5 days. They have free shipping across the US. So if you guys want to get your filters faster and cheaper and built to spec, factorydirectfilters.com is the place to go. Adam, man, first, I got to thank you for hopping on to do this. This is our mental health series with like real guys in the trade here. And it's something that not everybody wants to talk about. Some people keep it all to themselves. Some people volunteer to speak. And I think it's great when they do because other people get to hear it. Maybe they can relate to it. Maybe it'll help them in a way or two. We don't know until we actually have these discussions. Now, I had last episode, I had Elia on, who you know, Elia Martinovich. He was one of the first people that volunteered for this. And he talked about his cancer diagnosis through COVID and divorce and just all of that stuff, like just piling on through a lockdown. It was nice of him to share all of that stuff with people because I'm sure COVID was a dark time for a lot of people with lockdowns and not being able to leave your house and all that. But anyway, man, we got you. So where do you want to start with this?
I don't know, man. I feel like this year I've really went through a lot of changes myself. Like I've been battling for my whole life, but this year I'm just a little bit more open to helping other people because I feel like when I express what I've been through, especially through social media and our platforms, I have a lot of people reach out and it almost puts you aside because you're like, yo, that really helped me out. Now I want to be able to help other people. So, I mean, starting off with like a lot of people don't know how much death I've been through. You know what I mean? Like when I was in grade 8, my best friend I watched get electrocuted by 8,000 volts on my grad night. He climbed up, we played manhunt, and he climbed up a tree and grabbed on the electrical wire because we had a rope that went down the forest. And when he grabbed on, he just held on tight and we saw his feet go on fire. And his brother went to climb the tree and jolted off and he fell down and landed on the ground. And that was it. And that was the beginning, man. Like it was crazy. The next year, my stepdad killed himself, called us that night for help, and he was an alcoholic, and we told him, and the next day he was dead. My sister falling into the Niagara Gorge, went missing for 2 weeks and found her on the American side.
Your sister, what? Sorry?
My sister, 6 years ago, she fell into the Niagara Gorge right at the whirlpool, and she went missing for 2 weeks. We found her body 20 kilometers downstream on the American side. And then just 2 years ago, I had to be the one to call the shot to put my dad down at 58. So like that kind of stuff really takes a toll on you and you don't really realize it. In the trades, there's always this stipulation where you just put your head down, you go to work and you and just get through it. But I don't know, man, what I've realized is you can be that person, but you also have to feel it as well. You know what I mean? Like there also is people there that you can talk to within the trade and you just have to open up. And there's so many people within social media that are like that as well. Like you're someone that people can talk to as well, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. This is why one of the reasons why I'm doing this. We did a series like this a few years ago, and I've always wanted to jump and do it again. And then like told Elia, Cintas approached me about doing a series with them because they want to do something on the mental health side of the trades as well. And they're like, do you want to be involved in this? And I said, yeah, I think it would be super cool. And this is why we're here. But
Yeah.
I want to go back to the first death you
Yeah.
encountered, because in grade 8, to see one of your friends die in tragic accident, such a freak accident, like, how did you have to go through any therapy? Did you just like suck it up and move on? Like, how did you deal with that?
Honestly, I just sucked it up and moved on. That was it. My mom was a single mother, 4 kids, man. There wasn't really an option. It was just like I remember I was just trying to be supportive of his brother, Trevor, because he was in shock, and, like, I couldn't even fathom him dealing with what it was, let alone what I was feeling, right? So I was just trying to be there for him. But I can't to be honest, it's like black to me. I don't remember it. It's crazy. It's just it's been one thing after the other. So I know I'm scared of electricity. Like,
Yeah.
right, as much as I laugh about it now, that's another thing. There's a lot of people who laugh through their tragedies, and I'm one of them through dark humor and joke around.
You know what? I am that way too. I mean, there's a lot of people like that. If you go to a funeral, you see a lot of people laughing. You do, is genuinely laughing. And it might just be their way to deal with death, and it might be
Mhm.
their way to deal with ways they mourn. Who knows? Other people
Yeah.
go dark, don't speak. Some people get angry, some people laugh, some people try to look at the brighter side of things, because I mean, there it always can be worse. No matter how deep you're in, there's always something that can be worse most of the time. So, I mean, like, what sort of, during all of this, obviously you wanted to talk about this, and it's obviously more than just like the deaths you've experienced, but like, what sort of places did these things take you to where it's like, I need to do something here, or I'm just going to go down the,
Yeah, you know what, man? There's so much. My mom and my dad split up when I was 2, and I was in between 2 families that I have siblings on both sides, right? So, a lot of my problems, and I've went through therapy to understand how I am as a person, and like I'm an attention grabbing person, which is great for social media. I love grabbing people's attention. I'm an attention whore. I really am. But that's from the trauma I've went through, right? And that's gotten me in a lot of trouble over the years, and especially on social media too, because I'm such a ego pride based person that like someone says something or someone does something and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get back at them and get the rise out of them and this and that. So, with on top of the deaths, I was dealing with that as well. And when I finally went to therapy and really understand who I was and how I was dealing with things, that I was using that as a way to deal with it as well. And like infidelities, like, I've been with my wife for 12 years. We've had up and down relationships. Before I was with her, I was like posted online on Is Anyone Up, like a revenge porn site. You know what I mean? And I would grab attention from that. And I toured with bands and I did all kinds of stuff. And just recently I've kind of figured out myself, um and tried to work through all the little traumas I've been through, not just the grief, but like my family trauma too. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, to be honest. It's just there's so much in my brain.
no, no,
There's
that's
so
fine.
much in my head.
I'm going to start, when you said revenge porn,
Yeah.
what, you said you were involved in that?
No, I was
Oh,
posted 3
oh,
times.
you were
Actually,
posted.
there's a Netflix special on Hunter Moore who did that page. And so, like, back in the day, remember back in the day when people just started getting phones, or cameras on their phones, and people were like taking nudes and stuff? Well, I was affiliated to a band called Life Runner in Ontario, and I was their merch guy and tour manager, whatever. And so, someone would get a hold of like a nude of me and post it up on that page, and it'd be like Life Herders merch guy, and they post my nudes and post all my social medias, and then it blew up. And I was posted 3 times on that page. For men, it wasn't that bad, but for women, when women got posted up, it was a really big thing. He ended up going to jail for I think 5 or 6 years because of that website.
Really?
Yeah. And
So
there's a
how
whole
are they?
Netflix special on it. It was crazy.
So did you have like a thing where you like posing nude back in the day? Where did all these nude pictures
No,
come from?
it was like Vix, like
Oh,
stupid stuff. Like
oh,
I had
okay.
Jeffree Star reach out to me on there and try to fly me out to their house or yeah, we'll just
Jeffree
say her
Star, who's
house.
that?
Famous trans makeup artist.
Really? And what did he
Yeah.
want you for?
They wanted to
Or
fly me out and show me how someone really sucked. like
what?
like post message me on BBM. Back in the day it was BBM, right? And was trying to like because they were all over that page too. This is when social media blew up. Like Facebook, I would wake up and I would have like 1,000 friend requests on Facebook, and I'm like, "Oh, no, I was posting on Is Anyone Up Again?" So that was before the trade, dude. That was before I was even in the trades.
So yeah, so you had all of this before the trade. So how did you end up getting into the trades then?
So I used to work for New Era, downtown. I was running their store, and, when I was 24, my girlfriend at the time, she got pregnant, and I had a decision to make because I was offered a job in New York City to run the New Era store there and get into marketing there, or get in back into the trades, because I was always in the trades with my dad, and be there for my kid and be able to go home. So I ended up moving from Toronto to Windsor and got into plumbing because I just wanted to be able to provide for my family.
Okay. So did you enjoy it at first? Like when you got into it, you hated it?
I thought I made a mistake. I didn't know what I wanted. I knew I liked helping people. I knew I liked being a leader and like having a team and doing that kind of stuff because that's what I was always doing before.
Hmm.
And then I found service, and that's when I fell in love with the trade.
Doing plumbing
So
service.
yeah, doing plumbing service because I was helping people.
Well, that I mean, that is something that I think about all the time is when people are they fall into a mental health what do you lull or they get into a bit of a funk or whatever you call it. I think having purpose in your life helps with that, because if like you said, you're helping people. So you go, you do something for someone, unplug a drain or whatever it is, and now that person's back up, they're happy, and you've done something for them to brighten up their day, make them happy, take stress off of their lives. That's a good thing. It's you're providing a service, and you have a purpose now. If you take purpose away from people and they're just kind of floating through life without anything purposeful, then what are you at that point? So I think having a purpose really matters, and I think the trades give people a purpose to help others, and I think it's one of the things that can take people out of this funk is just being a good provider in the trades and getting that good feedback from people that is positive, and because everybody needs that, right? Everybody needs some sort of positive feedback once in a while to make you feel good. And it's the same for me. I can post on like I post on social media all the time, and I deal with some trolls and you're a hack, and I get this all the time. But then I'll get one message, even if it's one a month. Hey, dude, or hey, bro, or whatever, however they address me, and say, hey, listen, I watched this, and I actually found a call similar, and it helped me, and thank you very much for what you do. If I get one message a month like that, I'm like, this is worth it. It's worth continuing this if somebody's going to get some benefit from it.
It's funny you say that because I say the same thing to my technicians. Because my technicians go out and we'll have 4 bad customers in a row, but you get that one good customer that's grateful for you and they make you feel better, and that'll brighten your entire week. You just have to find that one good customer because it's there's a reason why we do this on social media as well. And those gratifications, I get them too, and it almost fuels my ego. You know what I mean? In a positive way. It makes me feel good and it makes me want to do it more. And then you get those trolls over and over again. It kind of wears down, wears down, wears down. And you get that one message. You're like, oh, this is why I do this. This is why I do this. So, but when it comes to the mental health stuff, when it comes to mental health stuff, it's like me being more vocal. It's another way for me to help people. It's almost like I'm fueling my own ego and trying to, and it feels selfish kind of sometimes, but I need to get away from that and realize that it's really to help people.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody listening to this, there's probably only a very smidgen of people are actually active on social media, posting all the time. Most people listening to this, yeah, they might have an account, they might post some things, but they're not like actively pursuing and creating content on social media, and that's fine. But I think when we have someone like yourself that is doing it, we need to get your side of the story as well. So I want to ask you about the attention seeking and on social media when someone strikes at you and you go back. I had a bit of an instance, and I was almost proud of myself in a way, because I just was like, bye, see you later. And I'll tell you what happened. So I posted a clip of myself and a trainer out of the US that we were talking about digital gauges, manifolds, and not putting hoses on the AC units and all this. So I posted a small clip of it. And some guy on Instagram said something along the lines of, "This guy's a hack. I know people that know him. He's a facade," something along those lines. And I responded, and it was in like the hidden part of Instagram because I guess the language he was using. So I don't know if everybody could see it. So I responded to the guy. I'm like, um, name the people that you know that know me, just out of curiosity. Then he private messages me this big, long message, no punctuation, like no periods, no commas, just this giant run on sentence about how um, he's been in the trade for 20 years. He knows more than me. His family owns all of Mississauga. Like Mississauga, for those of you that don't know, is a city adjacent to Toronto. He just went on, and I'm like, and I wanted to fire back, and I'm like, "Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna block, and I don't need the stress in my life because if I fired back, he'd fire back. Then I get stressed and angry, and I'm like, you know what? Block. I'm not even dealing with this person." But I could have, and I could have stressed myself out. I could have made myself angry. I could have went down that road. The guy sounded like an entitled 5-year-old the way he wrote his message to me. I'm like, "What is wrong with this guy? He's either got mental health problems himself, or he's intoxicated or on drugs the way he wrote this, or he's just immature and whatever." But so me getting to you now, the attention that you seem to seek on social media, like, why did you feel that was necessary to seek that attention? And when you got it, did it make anything better for you?
No. What I've come to the conclusion, I used to fight back, and we know, like me and you have talked about certain people online, and we've dealt with certain people, similar people. It doesn't do anything for my brand or who I am. I'm just snooping to their level. I don't even have urge to reply back to it anymore. I don't know what it is. Before I really did, and I realized I just stressed myself out, like you said, for you, over what? Over someone's opinion that doesn't matter. Everybody's gonna have an opinion of everyone. Like some people are going to have positive opinions about me. Some people are going to negative. They're allowed to have an opinion, but it's not my job to convince them. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to like you. So I had to accept that and just move on from it. I don't seek it anymore. I call people out, and I just had someone reach out to me and apologize for a relationship that he kind of soured over someone else's opinion with me, and I accepted his apology. I said it's fine, it's really easy to find create an opinion on someone from someone else's opinion online, and you didn't really know me at all. And I forgave him, and everything was fine, and I hoped him and his family were well, and moved on from there. I think you might have got the same message from the same person, to be honest. I know he brought you up, said he had a beef with you, but
Really?
yeah.
We can talk off the record after you want.
Yes, of course. I don't want to drop any names or anything because I don't need to give anybody attention. But yeah, no, it's nice to get those messages too, especially from people who had a problem with you for no reason and then kind of like grew up and matured and came through and went from there.